Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Terri Mead, and I am so happy to have you with me today to hear the end of the saga of the puppy. I'm a little sad, but Bugsy, aka Vixen, aka Chet, aka
Krusty, Scrappy, Scooby,
of the million names, actually has a forever home. He was adopted and his new name is now Franklin. Although Violet was slightly annoyed by the dog, I think she's happy to just have me back to herself. It's super quiet around here. And we are hoping that our cat Zuko somehow finds his way back because he's been living elsewhere for the last 2 weeks while the puppy dog has been here. So good luck, Franklin. We are going to miss you. And Ray will be inserting a collage of pics, right?
Yep.
So you'll see some of our favorite pictures. With Franklin gone and me free to roam about the universe, I have been back on the tennis court and I've been back re-listening to my book, Piloting Your Life. Wednesday night, if you listened to the last episode, I did my very first book club at my friend Natasha's house in Castro Valley, where I grew up. And in preparation for that book club meeting, I went ahead and thought I should refresh my memory on my book. And what I realized in listening to it is I don't have all the answers. And in attending the book club meeting itself, there was a question that was asked by a woman who said, I have young kids, I don't have a lot of time to set aside to focus on making myself the pilot of my own life. And I gave her some suggestions on being selfish and reclaiming her time a little bit, even if the time's a little bit scarce, but to do something for herself every day. And another gal, Jill, suggested that she go through and do some sort of a priority exercise. So to make a list of everything that she does and then really prioritize them and then let go of the things that aren't really necessary or helpful, or delegate some of them out to other people so that she can free up some time to focus on herself. And that's what I love about going to these events with these other women is other women have the answers that I don't necessarily have. I did research, so I shared the research in the book. I interviewed a bunch of women with their stories, and so I shared their stories, but I'm not a life coach. I am not an executive coach. I'm not trying to be one, but I do like bringing women together so that we start to talk about things that we don't normally talk about, to normalize subjects that we wouldn't normally feel comfortable talking about, and where we sometimes feel a little bit isolated and alone. And we get to learn from the other women in the room. And I thought that what Jill told the other gal, Tiffany, was absolutely fabulous. And speaking of normalizing conversations, in the fall, I started having conversations with my cousin Casey, who now lives in Boise, Idaho. And she had said that she was super uncomfortable talking about money or asking for what she was worth. And so we started getting on the phone once every 2 to 3 weeks for about an hour. And we talked about money. And you know what? She sent me a text and basically said, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about what I was afraid of talking about with money. And I've gotten over my fear and I don't have any more issues with it. And unfortunately, because of time and schedules and her travel schedule for her work, she has a PhD in fire science, which is pretty dang cool. We haven't been able to have our regular conversations, so we're hoping to pick back up to do an hour once a month. We were trying for an hour every other week and just couldn't make that happen. I'm actually trying to do that with a number of women around the country who I don't get to see very often, and trying to do Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, something so that we can talk about things, connect, even though we're not necessarily in the same city, and normalize some of the topics around midlife. One of the things that I talk about in my book that struck me today as I was listening to it on my way out to Half Moon Bay for the second tennis match in 2 days that I lost. Yep, sad, but hoping to get back on the court and get better and stop feeling like such a loser, or reframe that and do something more with it. But I'll dig into that a little bit later, some other time. But I talk about in one of my chapters the importance of reframing the term being selfish, because a lot of us women, especially in the US, we're socialized to put everyone else first. and in midlife especially. And I'd love the women behind us to realize that we need to reframe that word and have that be something that is more about self-care, that's healthier, where we can put ourselves first, put on our own oxygen masks in order to make sure that we're able to be available and accessible to others around us. If we reframe what it means to be selfish, then we can set aside time for ourselves to take care of ourselves and to really design and live a life of our own creation. I know that most of the men in my life are very, very good at putting themselves first. And I want to make sure that we as women, especially in midlife, are putting ourselves first so that the next half of our lives, we are much happier. One of the ways in which I am doing it is trying to be better about setting boundaries and saying yes to the things that are like the big yeses and saying no to the things that are simply out of obligation. And maybe I'll say yes to them because I don't want to feel bad or let somebody down. And you know what? That just does not make me a happy camper. And I was listening to something recently about how there was a woman who was friends with another woman, and the one woman said, I see that you're saying yes to things that are really not that important to you. And she says, I need to know that I can trust that when you say yes, it's a real yes. And so I'm really working on being better about setting those boundaries so that I do say yes to the right things. And then that means that there's more time available for me to really do the things that I want with the people I love that are really mattering in my life and in the way I want to operate in the world. So how are you with boundaries? Are you good with setting boundaries? Are you good at setting time for yourself and being positively selfish? I'd love to hear about that. The other thing from the last time, I mentioned that in the month of February, we are going to do the hashtag something about being brave. Would love to have some suggestions on what that hashtag should be. We're really at a loss, but I did, on my drive out to Half Moon Bay, I did actually make a list of a number of different things. So I'm super excited. Jacqueline has gotten the graphics pulled together, so it's a matter of just getting that posted. In the meantime, I hope that you are participating in the hashtag Bye Bye Baggage. I just posted or scheduled out the last ones for the month, and they're pretty fun. Some of them I've already done, but some of them I'm really looking forward to. I'd love to hear what you're thinking of the Bye Bye Baggage challenge and what it is that you're letting go of every day in preparation for making room for being brave and doing big things in the month of February. And I think that just about wraps it up for me. Peanut Gallery, anything? Ray?
Chilling.
You chilling? So Ray,
love you.
Ray has their friend Anna over for the night, and Ray and Anna's other friend Allison, they're coming over later. And Ray and I are going to be cooking, so we'll be putting together another Cooking with Ray blog post. We had a fun one from Friday night, which I need to get together and write after I drink my cocktail.
A very unnaturally shade of purple.
I like that shade.
Isn't that pretty? Yeah,
it's
pretty. And actually, at first, I need to go take a bath since I'm all gross from my my tennis match. And once again, I lost, but it was in Half Moon Bay at the Ritz-Carlton tennis courts, and it was pretty out there. And that's it. If we have nothing else from the Peanut Gallery, one last shot.
Don't die, y'all.
Love you.
So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for letting me know what it is that you're thinking about this brand new YouTube channel as we continue to figure it out. And until later on this week, since we're going to do 2 episodes this week, because Ray, you're going to be able to handle it?
No, I'm going to die editing this.
My gosh.
It's going to be terrible. Put on my tombstone.
Uh-huh.
Ray died while editing a video.
You know
for
what?
their mother.
Anna,
If they die, I'll finish.
Thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. Remember, let go of perfection, take risks, and above all else, have fun.